Chesapeake Redevelopment and Housing Authority. Housing Choice Voucher Program. What is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, HCV? The Housing Choice Voucher Program helps low-income families, the elderly and people with disabilities afford quality housing in the private market. The HCV program is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, to administer the voucher program. The HCV program is the largest federal low-income housing assistance program. Families are awarded a voucher to use to help them pay the cost of renting housing on the open market. This voucher moves with the family. This means that the tenant, landlord and PHA all have obligations and responsibilities under the HCV program. How does the HCV program work? Applicants are pulled from the wait list. Applicants are screened and eligibility is determined. Applicant attends briefing and are issued a Housing Choice Voucher. Applicant will begin their search for housing. Responsibilities. Client responsibilities. 1. Pay for the utilities that the landlord is not required to pay. 2. For any damages to the unit beyond the normal wear and tear. 3. To pay the required portion of rent to the landlord. 4. Comply with the landlord's lease, HCV program requirements and agency policies. 5. Report all income and family composition changes in a timely manner. Landlord responsibilities. 1. Pay for any utilities that the tenant is not required to pay. 2. The landlord must maintain the unit in accordance with the Housing Quality Standards, HQS. 3. Collecting security deposit, rent and maintenance charges. 4. Perform all landlord-related functions for the unit. 5. Comply with obligations listed in the HAP contract. Responsibilities, continued. Client responsibilities. 1. Cannot sublease the unit. 2. Must give CRHA notice before moving out of unit. 3. Must provide CRHA a copy of any eviction/non-renewal notices. Landlord responsibilities. 1. Must comply with fair housing laws. 2. Enforce tenant obligations under the signed lease between landlord and tenant, things that you will need to report. You have 10 business days to report any change to CRHA. Changes in family composition, that is, adding/removing household member. Changes in income. New employment, loss of employment, receiving child support, DANF, receiving SS/SSI for any household member, etc. If your income increases, you will have a 30-day grace period before it will affect your rent. Moving. Must give CRHA a 60-day vacate notice. You will need to also notify your landlord of your move. Moves can be denied. When in doubt, contact your case manager to inquire about any changes to your income or family composition. Ways that you can lose your voucher. Failing to report household members or income. Failing to attend appointments or cooperate with inspection process. Providing false information. Committing serious or repeated lease violations. Being evicted by a court order. Engaging in any drug-related or violent criminal activity. Failing to pay utilities or damages to unit. Being absent from the unit for more than 180 days without notifying CRHA. Owing money to CRHA. Receiving rent assistance in more than one unit. What to remember so far. You have 10 business days to report any household changes. Income, family composition. Do not move from your home until you given proper notice to owner and CRHA. Follow all program rules and family obligations. Do not hesitate to contact CRHA for any questions or concerns. Voucher overview. The voucher is your official document which allows you to search for an eligible unit. The voucher specifies the maximum level of subsidy that your family qualifies for as well as your expiration date. Utilizing your voucher. You will have 90 days to search for housing. You must do the following before your voucher expires. Find a unit within the city of Chesapeake. Submit a completed RFTA, request for tenancy approval, for review. You must enter in a 1-year lease and fulfill the initial term unless your voucher is terminated by CRHA for violation of program rules or substandard conditions. Your landlord cannot raise the rent during your first initial year. Where to search for housing. Families may search for housing and live anywhere in the city of Chesapeake. Remember, the landlord must be a participant on the HCV program. Check websites such as Section8.com, VirginiaHousingSearch.com, Truila, Zillow. Local real estate offices. Tip: When searching for housing, explain to landlords that you have a housing choice voucher instead of saying you have Section 8. How to figure out where you can rent. Find out what your payment standard is. Enclosed in packet, find a landlord who is on the HCV program or is willing to add their property to the HCV program and see who is responsible for utilities, heat, gas, water, electric, sewer. Please note that landlords cannot be a relative to you as in parents, cousins, grandparents, your children's fathers/mothers, siblings, etc. You may not rent to a relative except under very limited situations for persons with disabilities with advance approval from the Housing Authority. How much will my rent be? When searching for a unit, consider the unit's total cost. The gross rent plus the utilities that you will be responsible for will let you know if the unit will be affordable. Payment standards. Maximum amount of subsidy that can be paid by the CRHA for a unit of a particular size. It is advised that you match your bedroom size on your voucher with the bedroom size of the potential unit. The payment standard is determined by the lower payment standard for the voucher size issued to the family or by the payment standard for the size of the unit rented. What is a utility allowance? Each type of unit, whether it be a detached house, apartment or townhouse, is assessed for the number of bedrooms and type of energy used. A utility allowance is calculated using predetermined rates for each type of energy, electric and gas, and your bedroom size. The numbers on the utility chart may bear no resemblance to how much you pay for utilities. If your actual utilities are low or high, the CRHA does not change their numbers. We do not take your actual bills into account. Rent reasonableness. CRHA will compare the unit chosen to other similar units in the same area. The landlord cannot charge more rent just because a prospective tenant is a voucher holder. The amount on the voucher is not the amount that the landlord can charge for rent. Some landlords do not include the utilities with the rent amount. Be prepared to possibly pay all your utilities. Things you can do to keep your assistance. Number 1. Comply with your lease and family obligation. Number 2. Pay your rent on time. Number 3. Take care of your unit and keep it clean. Number 4. Do not disturb your neighbors. Number 5. Know what your lease says before you sign it. Other items in your briefing packet. Information. Tenancy addendum. Some leases don't have all the language that is needed to protect you and our office. The tenancy addendum will protect you in certain instances. Resources. Fair housing and housing discrimination information. Nellie Sanchez 757-233-6403. Lead paint disclosure. Violence Against Women's Act, VAWA. A good place to live. Hoarding. Reasonable accommodation. A family may request a reasonable accommodation to program rules, services or practices to permit program participation by individuals with disabilities. Examples include but not limited to: addition of a live-in aid, additional bedroom for medical equipment. If you need a reasonable accommodation, you will need to come up to our central office to complete a reasonable accommodation form. What do I do once I find a unit? Have the landlord fill out the RFTA. Number 1. Make sure it is fully completed and signed by both you and the landlord. Anything that is left blank will be incomplete. Number 2. Turn in the completed RFTA to CRHA with a blank copy of the lease. Do not sign the lease. Number 3. Affordability will be conducted, and if the unit is found to be affordable, inspection will be scheduled. Inspections can take 7 to 10 business days to be completed. What do I do if I haven't found a unit? If you have not found a unit and your voucher is about to expire within 10 days, you may request for an extension for your voucher. Requests must be done in writing prior to your voucher expiration date. An extension will extend your voucher for 30 days from the expiration date. If your voucher has expired and you have not requested for an extension, you are no longer eligible to search for housing under the HCV program. Your application will be withdrawn from the HCV waitlist. Inspections. Inspections are conducted by CRHA. HCV inspector. There are 4 types of inspections: initial, special, quality control, biannual. Failed inspections need to be re-inspected within 30 days. Inspections. Common fail items: smoke detectors, windows, making sure they lock and open and close. Check that the burners on the stove and oven works. All knobs and handles are attached. Flush toilets and check that seat is not broken. Check outlets and switches are tight, and no cracked or broken plates. Moving with continued assistance. Participants who have resided at an address while on the HCV program may move if the proper procedure is followed. You must give the landlord a written 30 or 60-day notice of the intent to move, depending on lease, and a notice to vacate must be completed with CRHA. You must be in good standings with the landlord, does not owe any money for rent, damages etc. The new home must pass inspection before you can move in. Do not move until CRHA has notified you. Moving into an unapproved home and not following correct procedure may result in the termination of your participation in the HCV program. Portability. Portability refers to the process in which your family can transfer or port your voucher to outside jurisdiction of the Public Housing Agency, PHA, that first gave you the voucher when you were selected for the program, the initial PHA. New families have to live in the jurisdiction of the initial PHA for a year before they can port. Please note: screening criteria, subsidy standards, payment standards and other elements of the portability process may differ at other housing authorities. Helpful tips. Do not sign a lease until CRHA HCV case manager has instructed you do so. Remember to follow your family obligations. Consider getting renter's insurance. Most insurances cost between $15 and $20 a month. We encourage you to use your voucher where you currently live, Chesapeake. If you are not able to stay in that unit, you need to plan on covering the costs for mailbox keys, security deposits for the unit, cable, phone, electricity. Application fees $35 to $50 per adult. Do not lose hope. Do not get discouraged, it may take a few tries to find a unit that is rent reasonable for you. Keep searching. Check newspapers, churches, real estate offices, housing websites. Remember you have 90 days to search to find housing. Steps in using your voucher. Client finds rental unit. Tenant submits RFTA. Affordability is completed. Inspection is scheduled. Lease can be executed between tenant and landlord. CRHA and landlord sign HAP contract. Meet the team. Housing Choice Voucher staff. Stephanie Wright, Director of HCV Programs. Teresa Smith, Compliance Specialist. Chandra White, HCV Case Manager. Clients: M through S, Daryl Stevens, HCV Inspector. Cindy Spivey, HCV Case Manager. Clients G through L. Gracie Godfrey, Housing Program Assistant. Jessica Farabee, HCV Case Manager. Clients A through F. Lynn Jordan, HCV Case Manager. Clients T through Z. Family Self-Sufficiency Program. Homeownership Program. HOP Current HCV voucher holders who participate in the HOP program and meet all program requirements may be able to use their housing assistance with a monthly mortgage payment, thereby increasing their borrowing capacity. The assistance may continue for 15 years for 20-plus year funding, or 10 years if less than a 20-year mortgage. Assistance under this program may be either a monthly homeownership assistance payment or a single, down payment assistance grant. Questions about the homeownership program? Nellie Sanchez, Housing and Community Development Specialist. Phone: 757-233-6403. Email: CRHA, homeownership@CRHAVA.org. Questions? Jessica Farabee. Phone number: 757-233-6401. Email: Jessica_Farabee@CRHAVA.org. Address: 1468 South Military Highway, Chesapeake, Virginia 23320. Keep in mind, we cannot overlap HUD-assisted contracts. If you are currently living in an assisted unit such as public housing, your Housing Choice Voucher assistance cannot begin until after your existing assistance has ended.